South Korea, the horrifying case of the woman burned by her own aunt. Today I'm going to share one of the most disturbing and heartbreaking true story from South Korea. A story that shocked the entire nation. A story where women didn't lose her life to a stranger, not to an accident, but to her own aunt, an aunt who claimed she was a shaman. An aunt who said she was saving her niece but instead tortured her for hours until she took her last breath. This is the story of Ishuan and the brutal ritual that ended her life inside a barbecue restaurant. Ishuan was in her early 30s. People describe her as a kind, quiet, gentle and hardworking. She rarely argued, rarely complained, and always helped her family. She worked at a barbecue restaurant that her aunt Shim controlled, but this wasn't a normal restaurant. It stayed open even during national holidays, days when the entire country shut down, but Shim never did. Sim was in her 70s. She called herself a shaman, someone who claimed to speak with spirits and remove evil energy. People feared her. If anyone disagreed, she threatened them. Spirit will punish you, you will curse, your life will be ruined. Over years, she gained complete psychological control over her family, especially Shu Yon. Sim controlled everyone around her followers, employees, and even her own relatives. She convinced them she had a divine powers. She told them that if they didn't obey her, their life would be destroyed by dark forces. People handed her money, they worked endlessly for her. They never questioned anything. Even the restaurant was run under her influence. She made everyone believe that resting or complaining would anger the spirits. Among all the people she controlled, the one she manipulated the deepest was her niece, Ishuyon. For years, Suyeon worked endlessly at that restaurant. Early mornings, late nights, no breaks, no holidays. But one day, she finally said, I can't do this anymore. She wanted freedom, she wanted peace, she wanted to leave the toxic environment. Sim didn't accept that. She declared that Shu Yon was possessed by an evil spirit. She told everyone that her niece was in danger and needed a cleansing ritual. That so-called ritual would soon turn into one of the most horrifying crimes in South Korea history. It was September 18th, a national holiday. The restaurant was almost empty, except for Shim and a few loyal followers. Shim announced that today she would remove the demon from Shuyeon. Shuyeon was terrified, confused, and completely helpless. What happened next was caught on CCTV, and when the footage was later revealed, the entire country was horrified. The footage showed Shuyeon's hands tied, her feet tied, her mouth gagged, and then she was forced to lay face down on the same barbecue grill where food was cooked every single day. The spirit is resisting. The grill grew hotter and hotter. Her skin began burning against the metal. Her body twisted in unbearable agony. She cried, she screamed, she begged for help, but no one stepped in. For nearly 3 hours, she was tortured on the large restaurant grill. That same grill where food was normally cooked for customers. Her internal organs began to fail as the heat kept rising. Yet she kept repeating, "Don't stop, the demon must leave." This wasn't a cleansing ritual, it was a cold-blooded murder. Around midnight, Shu Yon collapsed. Her body was severely burned. She could barely breathe. She was rushed to the hospital. The next morning, she died. Her organs had completely failed. Sim's followers tried to lie and cover it up. It was an accident. She fell onto the charcoal. She fainted from tiredness. For a moment, people believed them, but then the police found the CCTV footage. Everything changed. When police watched the footage, they were horrified. The video clearly showed winding, gagging, torture, charcoal heating, 3 hours of abuse, multiple people participating, and Shim giving instruction. It was not an accident. It was not a ritual gone wrong. It was a planned killing. The truth was undeniable. When the case finally reached court, the judge called it one of the most shocking ritual killings in South Korea history. The CCTV footage proved everything. This was not a ritual, but 3 hours of planned torture. The court declared that Shim would spend the rest of her life in prison, while her followers received long sentences of 10 to 25 years for participating in the torture. The judge said, "No belief, no ritual, no superstition can justify this level of cruelty." This was deliberate torture, and each person must face the full consequences. South Korea is a modern advanced country, but this case exposed something terrifying: how blind trust, manipulation, and fear can destroy lives. Shu Yeon didn't die because she trusted a stranger. She died because she trusted someone from her own family. This case remained a warning. When superstition replaces logic and fear replaces love, disaster follows. This story reminds us that not everyone who claims to save you actually wants to help you. Sometimes the biggest danger comes from someone who pretends to protect you, and sometimes the scariest place isn't a haunted house, but a place where blind faith becomes more powerful than humanity. That's all for today. Thank you for watching.